Good evening, and welcome to the Voice of the People. My name is Lois De Mayo, and I will be hosting the show this evening, and it's great to be back. We're starting off our show with Mr. Joe Vallano, who is area candidate for Area 3. Good evening, Joe.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be back. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been.
A lot going on.
So what's going on? First of all, you got a new business.
I do. So, it's been we've been pretty busy, so it's going very well.
Working on your tan, huh?
I am working on my tan. Yeah, I mean, last year everyone thought I was, maybe I was a little sick and I was all pale. Now, tan as can be. I mean, it is nice. It's nice spending time down on the water this summer, and and like I said, business is going good. So, I can't ask for anything better.
Oh, that's great. Let's get started talking about your objectives running for Area 3, running for City Council.
Yeah, I think my objectives are the same as they were 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago. Even though I wasn't running consecutive in all those years, but my stance on the issues have always stayed the same. I'm a fiscal conservative, making sure we're trying to control spending. There's a couple things going on in the city that we could talk about, anywhere from, still the revitalization of downtown and where that's gone, to the Eversource money that was used to prepay stuff for this year. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be discussed. That over this campaign season, I'll make sure that the citizens are made aware of a little trickery that's been going on over at City Hall. In case you haven't missed it, somehow we came up with a $1.5 million surplus from last year.
I know it.
Which came out of the blue last night. No one else knew about it other than the Democrats. So there's some answers there's some questions that need to be answered over at our finance department.
Did they say where that came up from?
No. So again, our finance department has always been under scrutiny because there's no transparency, there's no accountability, and the numbers, go up and down, left and right. Some things aren't their job to keep track of, and now all of a sudden, like I said, out of the blue, $1.5 million surplus. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered from our finance department.
And didn't the head of the finance department just retire?
Well, he doesn't leave till December, so he did retire, so he is technically retired from the city, but obviously he's still employed along with the police chief and a couple others that they have brought back. We could talk about that kind of stuff too. It's kind of like that double-edged sword with that. The optics aren't good, and for me, some of them I just don't want there to begin with. But in the same time, we are saving a little bit of money with how it's structured now.
The way they brought him back.
Yeah, the way they brought him back, because they don't pay the pension. They don't pay they don't pay the benefits twice.
Yeah.
So they still get the pension. They get the benefits through their pension, even though they came back to the city. They don't have to pay those benefits over again. So you're saving maybe, $25,000 to $30,000 a year per individual that they brought back. Mm-hmm. But again, the optics still isn't good. And to me, Chief Cassette, I wish would leave sooner than later. Lubkus, I wish was gone already. I wish he was the first one out. There's just a lot of things that in the finance department that for years have been a little raised red flags.
Yeah.
But
I've always had a red flag up with Chief Cassette. With buying properties, selling properties, and where does he really live?
Well, I don't concern myself too much about the property side, what he owns, what he doesn't own. I'm more concerned about the public safety of the citizens of Meriden.
Yeah, but I like the employees of Meriden to reside in Meriden.
Well, that's difficult. I understand where you're coming from, and certain things, certain positions. I believe if you lived in the city that you'd have a better grasp of what's really going on. But there's certain positions where that is just unrealistic. And so to sit there and say that there should be a blanket, residency.
No, I'm thinking at least department heads,
Yeah, again, that's still tough because you still want the best person for the job, and sometimes that's unfortunately not in the city. And again, I don't want to restrict the city. I don't want to bring inferior people in when we have much better qualified candidates that live
Right.
outside. The city manager. Look what happened with Guy Scaife. He sold his house in Rocky Hill, bought a house here in Meriden.
Yep.
And then they fired him a year and a half later, and look what happened. So to find anyone to sit there and say, hey, I'm going to sell my house, move to Meriden, with the risk of being fired because you're an at-will, then, again, it makes it difficult.
That was a sad situation.
No, that's
It
still
really
a sad
was.
situation.
But, he's in a great position now.
Well, he's in a great position to get about $3.5 million out of the city.
Sure.
Yeah, with his lawsuit.
Sure.
So, which is still ongoing. So,
How about the revitalization of downtown there? Are
Right.
we ever going to bring Meriden back downtown?
I think we can bring Meriden back. The unfortunate thing, which most people aren't going to want to hear, is that we're going to end up spending a ton more money. And when I say we're going to spend it, we're going to have to spend a ton more money to get people down to downtown. I don't mean it as we're going to have to spend money to kind of market it. We're going to have to spend money in incentives, in tax incentives to bring them down. The problem we did is we gave all of our tax incentives to the developers who, again, were getting low interest loans, we're getting grants, we're, again, all low income housing, so they're automatically guaranteed Section 8, so they're automatically guaranteed their money from the state. It made it so attractive for them to come in here to build these low income housing because they had no risk. And then we gave 70% for up to 70% tax abatements for 20 years. And it was ridiculous. Tax incentives and tax abatements were designed for small businesses to help them in the first 3 years. Because anyone that owns a small business will tell you the first 3 years are the most imperative. If you can weather the storm for the first 3 years, your chances of succeeding are much higher. And the incentives were designed to say, all right, well, we want you to come into the city. We'll give you tax incentives. We'll give you a tax break so it lessens the burden on you. That's what they were really created for. And then they were morphed into this, monstrosity of just handing them out to corporate, developers, which, again, is not what they were designed for. And
All right, you tell me, out of all the storefronts on these new buildings going up, how many of them are rented?
I think we have one or two that's in the Meriden Commons over next to the Green. Other than that, if you look at Colony Street, you're losing more stores than you're actually gaining right now. And if you look at 24 Colony, to be specific, because that's what we spent money to build, after 2 years, almost 2.5 years, there is still not a single occupied space in the commercial spot.
And I don't know how true this is, but I was talking to somebody who went there looking to open a business. There was no ductwork. They had to put in their own.
Yeah, well, again, they're
for
empty,
heating and for
they're
air
empty
conditioning.
spaces, so they're going to be, because again, depends on what you bring in there. It's going to have to be modified to obviously meet that need. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably just an empty shell. I haven't been into the bottom section, so I can imagine they are about an empty shell.
Yeah.
Because they need to be, obviously customized to whatever business is going in.
So, these businesses, they find other places to set up.
But again, that's where I talk about where, unfortunately, we're going to have to spend money, is that, we need to make sure that we have incentives in place to bring these businesses in to say, hey, we understand that you have to spend 10, 20, 30,000 to modify the place to meet your needs. How can the city help? And the one good thing we do have going on in the city is that we do have a new economic development director, which is Joe Fest, who is an amazing citizen here in Meriden, who's lived here his whole life and really understands what the city needs. And I think, we're going to have great things coming out of the economic development office.
Yeah, Joe Fest is brand new there.
He is, yeah.
And then we got Josh up at the city clerks.
Yeah, assistant city clerk now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. As far as downtown, I think what people have in mind is the old downtown. You know, we used to walk the streets downtown on a Friday night. We had sesquicentennial celebrations. That's never coming back.
Granted, most people, I did not grow up here in Meriden. I grew up in East Haven, New Haven. I moved up here '06. I'm not. But again, Meriden downtown was just like any other downtown. New Haven downtown. What was accomplished down there with their revitalization down on you talk about the Yale side up on Broadway and stuff like that. You can bring it back. It's going to take time. It's going to take time, and it's going to take businesses to want to come in and set roots here.
But with all of this low-income housing,
it makes it difficult.
How are they going to fill all of this? And they're calling it mixed income housing.
Well, of course they are, because they have to sell it that way, because they figured out that 10%.
I'm not paying $1,200 a month living next door to a guy that's paying $395.
Listen, it's always been an issue with me. I've said it publicly many a times. You don't revitalize an area by bringing low-income housing to it, and there's specific reasons for that, and no city does it. I was just in Knoxville this morning. I just got back maybe an hour and a half ago from Knoxville. They revitalized the entire downtown. Now, granted, people are going to say, oh, they had the University of Tennessee, but put that aside. They had the same issue that Meriden has, and one good thing I do, I'm a history buff, so I like going to find out what they did. And what they did is they repurposed all their locations that they have down there. And again, they had low-income housing down in Knoxville, in downtown. They moved it to the outskirts. They moved it out to the outskirts of the city. Now, they did that for two reasons. One, because you need to bring people that have money into the downtown area that you're trying to revitalize. No business, and the same thing in Meriden is happening now, which is why you see no storefronts on 24 Colony, is that you have people that do not have expendable income, disposable income, to go and patron the stores that are downstairs. So if you don't have that, no store is going to take the chance, again, without any incentive from
there's going to be
another outside source.
White tablecloth restaurant moving in down there.
Yeah, no. What I would like to see down there is one is everybody wants local businesses to go down there. That's not how you do it. And if you look at any mall or any other kind of location, there's an anchor store. So there has to be one anchor store that draws people from out of town. And to me, that would be something like a Pepe's Pizza, something like that, where pizza is affordable to everybody. And to have a famous one come in, I think, having something like that as your anchor, will draw people in from out of town, because everybody loves Pepe's Pizza. I know I do. I could eat there every day. But it draws people in downtown from out of the city. And again, it's also affordable enough where other people, the city residents could come down and eat also. And then you build off of that. Once you get people downtown, people realize it really is beautiful. Once we take care of the other side of Colony, where some of the storefronts need to be, spruced up, I think you're going to see Colony Street in maybe the next 5 to 10 years be a very viable place to own a business. And you're going to see people coming down there.
I hope you're right. I don't see it, but I hope you're right. And all of West Main Street, too.
If done right, you can. I would like to see, in decades to come, I'd like to see the courthouse go away from downtown. I'd like to see the police department relocated.
It should have never been there.
It shouldn't. It's a horrible place to put either one of those. But if we could relocate them in the decades to come, and again, put something there. Again, maybe some apartment buildings would be perfect there. Some condos would be perfect there, where you have people with money that could come in and live there.
Yeah. Because that's an eyesore. That should have never been there. Where they were, they had the perfect opportunity of taking over Jefferson.
Yeah.
The old Jefferson. But it shouldn't be in the middle.
Yeah,
that
always boggled me why those two buildings were there in prime real estate.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is now. We have to work with that.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
downtown. I'm not happy with how this whole plan and the whole project went forward, but, this is what I tell people. It's like, we have it now. This is what we have. We can complain about it, sure, but unless you're ready to put a
Downtown
solution
really
there.
closed up when, they said when the square opened, when the mall opened. And that's not so. Being a working woman, you had to run downtown on your lunch hour to pick up your shoes at Rosamond Miller, run back to work, had no time for lunch, because by the time you got out of work at night, they were closed.
Yeah, but you look at what's happened with a lot of cities that brought in malls. We're not the only ones. So, and Milford went through this. When the Connecticut Post expanded, a lot of stuff downtown suffered. But they went from retail down there to restaurants. So if you go down to the Green now, sure, you still have your basic needed convenience store they have down there. Milford Photo, which has been there forever, has decided to stay there because their business was already established and they have their following. But a lot of the little retailers disappeared from downtown Milford, and because of the mall. And the same thing happened to Meriden. It's just statistically true that
It wasn't the mall, though. You had Stars that opened up where a woman could go home and have supper and go shopping at night. And then you had King's open up. These were open before the mall.
They were, but when the mall came in, those started going away because of, again, when opportunity to have multiple places in one place, you never had to come downtown anymore. And listen, like I said, this is not just unique to Meriden. This happened everywhere. Now look at what's going on today. Now you got Amazon, who's putting even malls out of business now. And you look at our Square Mall now, and you lost
Your anchor stores.
They're gone. You lost JCPenney, you lost Sears. And if you walk in there now, half the spots are empty.
Yeah.
Again, that's one. It's the world we live in. And if you look at my business, my goal is for the citizen never to have to go to a gas station again. That's my overall goal. Right now, I provide a service where you used to go for boats. You used to have to go on the water, pay $4 a gallon for gas, and spend all that time in line. Where now I come straight to your dock, and I give it to you for almost 30 to 40 cents cheaper. So it's more convenient, it's lower cost. That is the world we live in. That's capitalism. That's what's so great about this country, is that it's always evolving, and you have to evolve with it. The city is no different. The city needs to evolve with the times. Meriden Square, I give it another 10 years and that thing's gone.
Yeah.
And then what are you going to do with it? Because it's the largest taxpayer. So we need to start thinking about that. Those are things that the city council cannot, gloss by and say, hey, look what's going on. We need to prepare for it.
Or wait, let's see what happens.
Right.
That's
you need to prepare
always,
for it.
And now these new builds with the Record Journal.
Yeah.
The Record Journal, in the first place, what they paid for the Record Journal, which alleviated the Record Journal from paying their back taxes.
Well, that and it gave them away from the contamination.
And now they had to not only relocate, but now clean up that yard with 100 years worth of
ink and everything else, yeah.
And now they're building these tall things, and this is all going to be low income.
Yeah, they're building the townhouses there that are going to be again, as they would say, mixed income.
Yeah, mixed income.
But it's 80% low income.
And the old hospital.
Well, the hospital's
that
unique.
Was a beautiful building at one time.
The hospital's different though. We can't compare the two because they're two totally different things. So the hospital is privately funded, totally privately funded. And that's through a program that allows foreign investors to invest into the state, because the investors that bought the hospital are not from America. They're not U.S. citizens. They're I believe, from Saudi Arabia or somewhere over there. So that's very unique. It's privately funded which I like. It does nothing coming from the city and the taxpayers. But yet it's going to bring money back onto the tax rolls, which is always a good thing. And that's what we should be looking for. That's what we should have been looking for downtown.
Yeah.
But I think there are alternative motives into why we have the plan we have downtown.
And that hospital, I mean, this has been years in the making.
Ever since I've lived here, it's
going
to be a beautiful place, though.
Been ruined by now.
It's going to be beautiful. It's being done in 5 stages, and it's going to be a beautiful location. So
it's going to be all housing too.
It's all housing, yeah. As far as I've seen, the plans I've seen, it's been all housing. It's going to be all housing.
I looked downtown, and the only thing left there is Liberty Lagana.
Yeah. Well, you still have a couple.
One of the originals.
Yeah, you still have some little stores down there, but.
Yeah, but he's the only of the originals. Yeah. We had Penny's, Janong's. We had them all. Right. Bessie Boyton's, Uphams. But. Yeah, he's still hanging in there.
Yeah, I mean, I've never bought anything there, so I'm not too familiar with what's inside. But he's been here. He's proven and tested. I mean, he's been here for decades. So
yeah. I've bought furniture there. Yeah.
Good. But the east side's coming along really well. If you look at the east side.
Look at the new building. It's going to be Ion.
Yep. So you got a couple of things going on over there. You got the Huxleys that moved across the street. So that's always good.
Beautiful building.
That worked out well for them because that was supposed to be a sports bar, but it ended up going under with the extra funding. So Huxley was able to buy it at a pretty good price. And anyone who's been to Huxley's, the old Huxley's, knew it needed some renovation.
Yeah.
So it actually just worked out perfect for them. So.
They didn't have any parking. In the first place, but here where they've got a load of parking, and there's a load of cars there already.
It's great. I love it. I've been there. I go there multiple times. So
to the new place.
To the new one, yeah.
I haven't been to the new place
yet.
No,
it is beautiful.
And now the other new building going up. Supposedly that's where the Ion East Main Street branch is going to move into.
So in the east side, I think over the next couple of years, you're going to see the east side. You're going to see the East Main Street really start, having its own little unique, following that you could go down there and basically, have a great dinner. I mean, you have Tiano's that is fabulous.
All right, the steakhouse.
The steakhouse, fabulous.
You've been there,
yeah? We went during the grand opening, and it was terrific. We met with the owner. We met with Van, who is from Hell's Kitchen, if anyone's seen it. He was on Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
So we met with them, and they gave us a big sampler, and it was terrific.
Oh.
So if you haven't been there yet, by all means, go down there. It's terrific. The food is amazing.
I'm going
and the steakhouse itself, the dining area, should be opening up soon. Once their steaks are aged.
Well, is there seating?
Yes.
Now?
Oh yeah, there's tons of seating, and then they have an upstairs. So you can have parties there, you can have all sorts, and then they have a big bar area.
Okay.
So, but it is fabulous.
All right, I got to try that. What was I going to ask you? Anyway, if you're elected to the city council, what are your goals? We've been talking all about, the properties and all that stuff. And we forgot to mention the boulevard, the new boulevard on Platt Street.
Yeah, that was
the entrance to the city.
It's the gateway to the city. Yes.
Oh.
Gateway to downtown.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
To me, that's the least of our problems right now. What I'm most concerned about is making sure, one, for the Area 3, that we're continuing to bring businesses down to East Main Street there. Make sure we continue the progress that has been started. Mm-hmm. And the other is to, even though it's not our area, it's Area 1, but downtown is what matters really the most. Is making sure we're getting people down there, making sure we're getting restaurants and businesses down there. Because what that does is that increases the grand list, which again lowers taxes for everybody. So while I
Right.
am in Area 3 as representing Area 3, I do have my goals for Area 3, which is anywhere from the sidewalk issues that have pretty much been taken care of over on East Carriage Street, but it has now, you go down to Parker Avenue, you go down to Curtis, where, they're horrible. So we have everything from sidewalks to, again, making sure we're making progress on bringing more businesses to East Main Street. So and there's a lot going on that we need to keep our eye on, but we also need to make sure we watch the spending. One of the main things we were just talking about online on social media is everyone was talking about the golf course with the banquet hall. So when I was on the golf course commission, I was one of the first to be a proponent of bringing a banquet hall in, just because just being on the golf course commission and dealing with the negotiations of the renting of the contract for the rent, it was discussed years ago about making a permanent location instead of having the tent there. Mm-hmm. Now, when we first discussed it, it was about $400,000. Now it morphed into $800,000, and now Brian Daniels just put a resolution in for $1.5 million, which is outrageous, and I'm glad it was not voted in favor of. But there's a lot going on that we need to.
All right, so your campaign is already started or will be starting?
Oh yeah, we started already. We still have. You'll probably see our sign. If you're in Area 3, you'll see our signs out there already.
Okay. Don't put your signs out too early, because then people get used to them, and then they're driving right by without noticing
trust
them
me. By the
anymore.
time they're done, they're going to see about 1,000 of my signs out there.
All right, save some for later. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, but
If I start seeing signs early, and then, in a few weeks' time, I don't even pay any attention to them anymore.
see, the small signs are out there now just to catch your attention. Once you give it a couple weeks, and you'll see some bigger signs coming out there that you won't ever forget.
Thanks, Joe. It's been very nice talking to you, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again before the election.
It's always a pleasure being here.
And people, if you would stay tuned for the next segment, we are having on Geetha Kittrell, who is area candidate for Area 1. Good evening, and we're back again with the second half of our program. And we have our guest, Geetha Kittrell, and she is our Area 1 candidate for City Council. Good evening, Geetha.
Hi, Lois. How are you tonight?
Good. How about giving us a little background first?
Well, I'm a former military vet. I was in the Army. I was in for 3 years. My MO was medic, which I enjoyed very, very much. It was a great time being in the Army, and all the challenges that I had. I excelled at everything I did. It was a fun time. I learned the discipline that you need, which followed me through the rest of my life, the discipline that I have, and the time, and just being constrained and taking care of things on time, or maybe earlier than usual, than most people. But I had a great time in the Army. It was a wonderful experience. And then
That's great. Where were you stationed?
I was in Fort Sam Houston, Texas. And when I came out of the Army, my mother, I lived in Hamden. Formerly I'm from Hamden. And when I came out of the Army, my mother made a bet with me. She says, I'll bet you 50 cents that you'll be hired by the Hamden Police Department. So I says, no way, I'm not going to be hired by the Hamden Police Department. There were no women at the time. So I took the written test, the PT test, and the psychological test, and sure enough, I got hired. I was the first female police officer in the town of Hamden.
Wow.
Yeah, that was exciting times as well.
That was great.
Yeah, spent 5 years working undercover for the state of Connecticut.
Another challenging position.
But all of it was it was great. It was really, really great. And if you put your mind to something and you don't take it as serious as you should take it, and you make you make a game out of it. How can I do better? How can I excel better? And that's what I did. That's what I applied for myself. Always trying to do better. Not to be perfect, but to do better and be better.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So what are your plans? Are you having any fundraisers or get-togethers or?
Yeah, I have a fundraiser planned for September the 20th at the American Legion on Hanover from 8 to 11. It's going to be a dance picnic. We're going to have a DJ, food, and a raffle. Oh, yeah.
I like that.
It's
I got to
gonna be a
write
lot
that
of
down.
fun. Oh, yeah.
I got to write that down. Now that's September?
September 20th, the American Legion on Hanover Road.
Sounds
So
good.
we're going to have music from the 70s, 80s. We're going to really go with
Oh, my
we're gonna
God,
have-
that
we're gonna
fit
have-
right
We're going
in.
to have fun. We're going to have fun.
I'll fit
Oh,
right
yeah.
into there.
Yeah.
So that's a great fundraiser. I wish I could think of some odd ones, for we the people.
Odd
We'll
ones?
have to put our heads together. Something other than the bus trip.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we
Oh,
do,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, yeah. I'm really thinking about having something for the children. Not sure yet what, but I want something for the children definitely.
Have
Because
to
I
put
think
our heads together.
Yeah, I think they need to get involved.
Figure
Because it's
things
their
out.
future.
Yeah.
It's their environment, and I think they need to take pride in their environment.
Okay. Talking about their environment, what do you think about the revitalization of downtown?
Well, I
Is
think
it
it's
coming back?
My vision for that, I think if you bring back the old Meriden, the old quaint Meriden, the old New England towns that we have, up in Old Saybrook and East Lyme and stuff like that. Nice quaint towns with nice quaint little shops that people visit. Tourists come to those towns and they visit. It doesn't have to be elaborate, but it's quaint. It would be Meriden. The stores that are empty on Colony Street, I was speaking with my brother and I was saying we need a bookstore cafe there in one of those stores with maybe twice a month some type of live music, diversity, because we are a diverse neighborhood and we are a diverse nation. So I think it should be all inclusive, not to just one set, and have the doors open to those diverse groups so they can come in and show us their culture, teach us their culture, and respect their culture. That's what I think for downtown for, Colony Street.
Okay, on Colony Street. What about the other stores? The other stores seem to be more receptive to, Colony Street. Those stores have been empty since the townhouses were built. But there's nothing inside. There's no ductwork or anything, and that's up to you to put it in.
Right. Right.
If you want to rent the place. Where the other storefronts seem a little more,
Ready for
yeah,
occupation.
and yet it's in a section where, a white tablecloth restaurant is not going to make it down there.
I don't. It might, Lois, it might, if they can find a spot that faces the train track, that overlooks the green. I think it could happen. I really do, but you need the right investor with the vision of, I want to make this beautiful, not just for the people, but for themselves. This is my vision. This is what I want to see. And you have to find somebody who has that vision and who wants to, take that investment chance. I think downtown Meriden can come back. I really do. But not the way people want it to come back. I think it would have to grow itself. It has to be organic. That's what I think.
So not like it was back when.
Well, you're not going to get it back like, you know, the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Yeah, like when we used to go downtown and walk the streets.
You're not going to get that
on a
back.
Friday night.
No.
You know.
But, you know, some of the street sign posts are still on the corners. They're cement, and the street name is cemented right there, engraved into the,
Yeah.
you know, and that in and of itself, that's Meriden right there. The houses are beautiful. You have houses that were constructed in the early 18th century. So you do have those beautiful houses. You have the history there in Meriden. And I think that's what you want to revitalize, is the history, not the people. You can't revitalize the people because, like I said, there's too many diverse groups in Meriden. And I don't think, without being a longtime resident or a, what do you call yourself, Meridenite? Can I say Meridenite?
Sure.
Okay. Without being a Meridenite, born and raised in Meriden, you won't see that. You won't see that vision. I think the houses, some of the houses, there's a lot of vacant houses, there's a lot of houses in disrepair, you know, in my neighborhood. A lot of streets need cleaning. The sidewalks need repair. The trees need to be, you know, pruned. I don't know where our Department of Public Works is, but we need a lot of work in area District 1. We need a lot of work. And I think once that's being cleaned up, the side streets are being cleaned up, as well as downtown Meriden, I think you will see Meriden starting to spring back to life. I think you have to have that pride in your environment.
And it's not just in Area 1. I live in Area 4.
Mm-hmm.
There is always a for sale sign or a sign of, you know...
a vacant house?
Yeah, not the vacant house, but they're taking over, the bank is taking over.
Yeah, foreclosures.
Repossessed,
Right,
foreclosure.
yeah.
This is common even in my area.
Well, unfortunately, the
People are just moving out
the
of
real
Meriden.
estate crash in 2008 really hit a lot of people. You know, in my opinion, that was a planned event, and people suffered from that. People have not regained from that. Their credit was ruined for the rest of their lives. You know, so it's kind of hard, you know, for people to rebound from that. And when you have these houses that are on the foreclosure list and nobody's thinking about buying these houses, simply because if you look at them, there's a lot of money you have to sock into those houses to be livable.
Sure.
You know, so they sit and the grass grows and the roosters
That's
and
right.
the pigeons and the sparrows, they all, you know, those are the residents now of the vacant houses. I know the street behind my house needs a lot of work. You see people come and go. There's houses that have been vacant since 2006, when I first moved into the neighborhood. They've been vacant, and they're just sitting there, doing nothing. So my, what I would like to see done, I would like to start inquiring as to why, and what are we going to do about it? Why are these houses still vacant? I mean, how come, I mean, they're on the foreclosure. How come nobody's buying them up? And try to get people who renovate houses or flip houses, get them interested in purchasing maybe $30,000, sock $30,000 more into it, flip the house, make it livable, you know?
I know, right next door to me, the people just abandoned the house.
Really?
They were there one day, they were gone the next day.
Mm.
Anyway, two fellows came in.
Mm-hmm.
They had purchased the house. They redid the inside like you wouldn't believe. And yet, when they got to the garage and the cellar part, a girl came over and she says, "Do you have any lower windows open?" And I said, "No, why?" And she says, "The rats and everything that have been in this house, they're going to be coming straight out, you know."
Wow.
they did so much work on that house, and it was beautiful.
Did they flip
They
it?
used to take me in every day. Come on, see what we did, you
Yeah.
know. And they did a beautiful job, and a young couple bought it.
Good.
They've had little children now, but it's a beautiful house. These things can be done.
Oh, yeah.
This house was a pile of,
Yeah. I
you
can,
know,
I can imagine. I can imagine because,
you know, with animals and mice and rats.
oh, yeah, they do go marching. They do go marching, and
Yeah.
not just those little four-legged little friends, too. But my street, there was a contractor that flipped a house across the street from me. And some people from out of Texas saw the listing. They lived in Texas, they saw the listing. They came up, they viewed the house, they bought the house, and moved from Texas to across the street from me. So, you know, it can be done, Anna. I mean, Lois,
Wow,
I'm sorry.
that's
Anna.
that's a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be done. And 2 doors down from me, church helped a family from Ecuador. And they came in, they bought the house on foreclosure and renovated that house. So I have a very diverse street. But, you know, people do take pride in what they have. And they try,
Well,
they
when
try to
they
do good.
do it,
Hmm.
you know, then that's where the pride comes
Right.
in.
There's a you know, remarkable
Hands
difference
on.
when you do.
Hands
right.
on, yeah.
Right. I think we should have a beautification month each month in Meriden. Each district get out there on a concerted effort. One day, each district get out there and clean up their neighborhoods. Doesn't take much. Plastic bag, garbage cans.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's an
Doesn't take
idea.
much. Yeah. Once
I
a
mean,
month.
you've seen them do it along the other streets.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Volunteers.
Yeah.
Us.
I want to know what my thing with the city council. We have, you know, candidates come and go, and nothing never changes. And I think this is the time. This is the Great Awakening. This is the time for something to change for the good, because we've been doing bad for so many years, for so many centuries. We've been doing bad. So I think this is the time that people need to wake up and take back what is rightfully theirs. You know, it's, you know, education for the children, a safe environment for the children, a peace of mind, you know. I think it's time.
Unfortunately, for a lot of those sitting on city council, the only time you get to know them or hear about them doing things is when it's coming close to an election.
Oh yeah, I know. I know. I had
And
a chance to go.
that's the only time.
Yeah.
Other than that, they've been there, I believe, in term limits, but they've been there forever, and they're not vitalized anymore. You know?
Well,
There are some, like Walter Shammick.
yeah, he's a good guy.
He's, you know, I think he's at his end now, but 30 years.
That's a long time.
30 years, and the guy still has it.
Mm.
Yes, he's
Well,
the no
yeah,
tax man,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
but
right, but
but where did they come up with the surplus of $1.5 million?
I have no idea. I am concerned about some of these people in position leaving on pensions and receiving their
And then
pensions
coming back.
and coming back and receiving double pay. Now, I have a problem with that, because if you can't
We
do
were
that
just
and I can't do
talking
that,
about that. I know.
yeah, we can't do that.
We were just talking about that, and basically, the city is saving money doing that because they are not getting benefits when they come back. They're getting a straight pay. Now, they couldn't hire somebody new and not give them benefits,
Mm-hmm.
but these people are coming back with just straight pay.
What, 50,
Vacation time.
50,000 a year,
Yeah.
maybe higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still have a problem with that.
But you have somebody new come in,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to get that, plus vacation, plus sick
Right.
time,
Right.
plus their pension.
We spend $3 million each year for civil servants, I think.
So this way here, I mean, basically they're saving money.
That's what they say.
But-
they're saving money, but I don't see them saving money when you're paying double salary.
Um,
Because we have to pay for that. The taxpayers have to pay for that.
Right, but they're not paying double salary when they come back. They're paying a simple salary.
Right. Well, you have your.
They had their salary already. It was done when they left.
Okay, reduced salary. The company got reduced salary, or full salary. Not the benefits.
I'm not sure.
Okay, that's.
It's got to be
yeah.
reduced if there's no benefits and no vacation time and no sick time.
Okay, must reduce benefits. My understanding is that they are getting a full salary with no benefits. The ones that are
It
coming
could
back.
be.
Yeah, that's
But
my
it's
understanding.
something that somebody else would be getting
Mm-hmm.
plus the benefits.
Right, right. I don't know why we need two chiefs of police. I don't understand that. Also,
No way.
I
And
think
the one that
yeah.
is there should be
Yeah.
gone by now.
I think we need more visibility with the police department on the streets. Too much stuff has been happening lately. I mean, unnecessary shootings in broad daylight.
We were talking about the police department downtown. In the first place, you got to get the police department and the court out of the
there.
center of town.
Yeah, that is a.
The police department used to be next door or across the street from what was Jefferson Junior High School, which is now the new post office.
Okay.
Police department was right across the street. They could have taken all of that land and built a new police department and the courthouse and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep, a municipal
And they went
center.
downtown, in the middle of downtown.
Well,
So what are you going to push for when you get elected?
when I get elected, first thing I'm going to push for is accountability. I want to know where our tax dollars are going.
Oh, that's a good one.
I want accountability. I want transparency. I don't want these behind closed doors meetings without the public input. I think that we should be privy to whatever goes behind those closed doors. Nothing should be hidden. If it's hidden, to me, you're hiding something. So I want transparency. I want accountability with where's all our money going to? How are you benefiting the taxpayers, which, funds all this? I want to see our streets cleaned up. I want to see more police presence on the street, especially during the wee hours of the night. There's a lot of break-ins going on, a lot of car break-ins going on. And police department's aware of it, but I don't see any patrol during that time frame when I'm up and the break-ins still occur. My grandson's bicycle was stole right out of the backyard. And I have headlights on the front and the back of the house. So what time of morning are they doing this? They steal cars, they break in?
People are putting up like alarm systems instead.
Yeah.
Stop the vagrants in the first place.
Right. Why has crime increased in Meriden? Why has it increased?
And gone
I think
undetected.
if you have a deterrent, which we're supposed to have, you would have less crime. But I don't see our deterrent working. And, not to knock the police department or anything, being a, former police officer, I know what the job entails. I know what goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have a job to do. So do it. Yeah.
Right.
That's what I want to
So
see
you
with the police
enjoyed
department.
being a police officer?
I did. I really did. It was fun. I'm
Yeah.
scary, but also fun. You learn a lot.
Did you have some scary episodes?
Oh, I have many scary episodes. I'm not going to talk about them here, though. You almost learn the psychology of the human nature. being a police officer.
Mm.
You can also see what the economy has done to certain people, and which makes them or causes them to act the way they do, and engage in a crime, not a big crime, a petty crime, and your understanding of that, and you can see why. Well, I didn't have any money to buy food for my children, which they use all the time, but sometimes it's true. Sometimes it's
But
true.
you got to know which time
Right.
it's true and which time it's not.
And sometimes they have to do things that they normally would not do, but because of economic hardship. That's debatable. Would you do something? Would you commit a crime? Morally commit a crime? To feed your children, or that's debatable. Some people say, well, yeah, it's okay to do that if you have to feed your children.
You're going to be campaigning. I know you're going to be walking door to door.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. Don't ever go alone.
No.
Always have somebody with you with a pad and pen.
Mm-hmm.
Should they ask you a question that you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
I will find out and I will call you.
Right, write it down.
And have your friend
Mm-hmm.
write down the name
Right,
and the phone number.
right. When I'm campaigning, when I'm going door to door, I want to get my district involved. So I will be asking them, what would you like to see done? What would you like to see changed? Because it's you that I'm fighting for, and me, and pretty much everybody else. I want to know what you want to see done and changed on your street, in your area. Let me know. Let's put our heads together and work together. Let's make that change.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You've got to get the input.
Oh, absolutely. Or I'd just be another
Excuse me.
candidate sitting up there, another council person sitting up there, and wasting taxpayers' money and time, and nothing's getting done. And I've decided, when somebody knocked on my door and said, "Would you?" And I've thought about this for years. When I was a little girl, I always thought that I had to stand on a soapbox on the street corner and let the world know something's wrong. They're lying to you. Something's wrong. And I've always knew that what we're doing now, what we see now, it's bad. It's getting worse.
It is.
It's getting worse.
And it should be getting better.
Yeah, but
With
it's
all
not.
the economic development. This is true.
Yeah.
And I look at all of the department heads that have resigned all of a sudden.
Mm.
Something is going on there.
Oh, yeah.
We're about winding down now. If you have anything else, a message you'd like to give to your people, go right ahead.
Well, when you see me coming, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and if you want to walk with me, you're more than welcome. I would appreciate that. Ask your friends, ask your neighbors, write down what you want to see changed, and let's make it happen.
Thank you so much for being on here.
Thank you,
I'm
Lois.
getting excited about this campaign.
Good.
We're starting this show up again, so we'll be talking again with you.
I would be
And
happy
I
to
really
be here.
appreciate you being here.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll do it again sometime, girlfriend.
Oh, I would love that, Lois.
Okay.
I had fun today.
But I got to do it, your dance.
Oh, yeah. You guys coming to the dance?
You bet.
Awesome, 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 awesome.
And that's the end of our show. We hope you enjoyed it, and will join us again next week for the Voice of the People. Good night.